Do good, Maverick here. Welcome to podcast episode number 139. I'm sorry if the audio is a bit bad and if there is a bit background noise because I'm sitting in my car and these new computer cars, I call it a new car for it's like 15, 20 years old, and to me that's way too new. And these new computer cars, just like they're full of bugs and computer problems. So there's some noise in the background. I think it's the handbrake that wants to turn on, but won't. So yeah, sorry about that. I thought I'd make a podcast episode about the subject of basically don't reject yourself. A lot of people reject themselves. I guess the classic example is when it comes to women and dating. Most men, when it comes to women and dating, they reject themselves. They see a gorgeous young lady they want to go over and talk to. Maybe she looks like the woman of their dreams. And maybe they hear she's talking and she also sounds like the type of woman they're looking for. But how many of them are actually going over and talking to her, approaching her? Most men in situations like that, they usually end up rejecting themselves. Like, yeah, oh no, maybe if I go over to her and try to talk to her, I might seem weird and she might reject me and I will feel bad. Okay, no, I'm not doing it. And they basically rejected themselves. And the thing is, in many of those situations, even if they had gone over to talk to her and she had rejected them, so they had actually been rejected by that lady, in many cases, that would even feel better than the regret of not doing it. You know, there's been a bunch of times when I've approached women in the past and I got rejected, or the result was not very good, but it still felt a lot better than the regret of thinking, oh, what if, you know? And of course, dating, that's just one example. I'm especially thinking about this when it comes to opportunities and possibilities in general. So dating might be one, but in business as well, you might be having ideas. Some of them might be great ideas, but are you talking yourself out of them? Are you talking yourself out of even trying? So maybe you are rejecting yourself. There's a lot of things that can hold us back in life, but oftentimes what's holding us back is ourselves. Pretty sad to think about, but also in one way it's kind of exciting or liberating because oftentimes we are surrounded by more opportunities and possibilities than we are aware of. And if we just stop holding ourselves back, just that one thing alone, it's like a competitive advantage over a lot of people. So yeah, don't reject yourself. There's this article. What is it called? I forgot the exact title. I've read it several times over the years. It's basically an article about a guy that I think the article is named something like this: What dating a model taught me about life and opportunities, or about sales and marketing, something like that. And basically, it's this story about a guy. I think he was on some kind of business trip, and he wanted to get a drink, but he looked at the bar. Oh snap! The bar was full, but there was one empty seat next to a beautiful young lady, and he just went right over and went for it, and asked if is the seat empty. Yeah, he could sit there, and this lady was actually a model, and I think she was also an actress in Hollywood, and he actually ended up dating her. But he had a conversation with her at the bar. Like I guess I guess you're approached all the time, looking the way you do. No, actually not. She was not approached all the time at all. Almost nobody approached her. That was the crazy thing. She looked absolutely gorgeous. She was a model, and I think also an actress. She looked great. But almost nobody approached her. And his theory was that, yeah, probably they're afraid of being rejected. And they think that she is out of their league, so they don't even bother trying. They basically reject themselves, you know. And what he kind of took out from that experience, he ended up dating that lady for, I think it was a few weeks or a few months, something like that. I don't think it worked out. And what he wrote the article about was basically that for him, that situation there kind of taught him something about sales and opportunities, because he was working in sales. And after that experience, he was kind of going after a lot of the big potential clients. A lot of people thought they were too big, but he was kind of just going for it. He didn't reject himself. And for him, it worked out great. So yeah, that's just one scenario or one story about that, you know, where are you rejecting yourself now? You know, being rejected, there's some kind of, I heard a dating expert talking about when it comes to rejection, it kind of hits or impacts the same area in the brain as physical pain. Who knows if it's true? Maybe it's true. So rejection can feel horrible, but looking back at life 3 months from now, 5 years from now, decades from now, looking back on life and regretting a lot of things you did not do simply because you rejected yourself, that's way worse than rejection. You know, one thing that holds us back oftentimes is we don't want to look foolish. So, for example, you don't want to start a podcast because you're not a professional like me. I'm not a professional. So, you know, maybe you reject yourself. No, I don't want to look foolish. And you reject yourself. Why not just do it and let the marketplace reject you instead? If you have an idea for a business or an offer, why don't you try to sell it to a bunch of people to see what the market is really saying instead of just rejecting yourself, you know? Anyway, I thought this might be of value for some people out there. It might be you. Don't reject yourself. It's okay to be rejected by others, but it's not really okay to reject yourself. Take the rejection, but don't reject yourself. You can, of course, think about things and come to the conclusion that you should not do something. Yeah, of course. But if you think you should do something and you feel you should be doing something, it's like almost everything in your body, in your mind, it tells you you should do it. But then you reject yourself, basically out of fear. You probably should not be doing that. You know, rejection might be bad, but regret can be a lot worse. Yeah. Maybe you should go, maybe you should just go for it. All right. And by the way, I have to mention it when it comes to the interviews I've been doing lately, the last few weeks. I've interviewed a bunch of people that are running paid communities that are making at least $10,000 in profit per month. I'm going to interview at least 30 of them. At the time of this recording, I've not interviewed all 30, but I've interviewed a bunch of them. So if you want to learn from those real life success stories, go check out communitycashcows.com. That's communitycashcows.com. By the way, why do I call it community cash cows? The reason I'm giving you the book and course and community that title is because a lot of the people I've interviewed about their paid communities, they're basically running their paid communities as a kind of cash cow business. So yeah, when it comes to semi-passive income, there are some people doing it. And if you want to learn from a bunch of those real life success stories, yeah, check out communitycashcows.com. Take care. God bless.